Hi, and welcome to the Sabbath Christian Church's online sermon, Passover. It is so important that we really must keep it. Let's check it out a little bit and see. Adam and Eve chose the serpent that promoted the tree of good and evil. From there on in, the serpent, proud and evil as it was, says, I can rule people. I can rule the world. And use every lie and convenience here. And we see the serpent's deceit in the mind of Pharaoh, which leads us to Passover. And Pharaoh absorbed and recycled the serpent's deceit. Moses, who escaped Egypt years ago without going into all the detail before God's intervention into Egypt, looked at a fire, which he had seen before, and communicated with it. And the fire represented God there. And after the conversation and everything, Moses became God's believer, servant, and deliverer. Moses then, as God told him to return to Egypt and free it. He did. Let's see how. Now, the Pharaoh ruled over his people, servants, and Israel, Goshen. God tested Pharaoh, tested him to free his people. God had several insects that attacked Egypt. Pharaoh to let Israel go, and God said, I'll take the insects away. And Pharaoh, after God restrained them, Pharaoh disregarded his word. He lied and re-slaved Israel. He broke the 3rd and 9th commandment, and later again. God had Moses seize the animals. Pharaoh ignored it. Let them die. He would not let them go. More 3rd commandment breakage. God told Moses to injure Pharaoh's people. Too bad, Pharaoh said. Let him suffer. He stole their health from them. He broke the 8th commandment. What a vicious, nasty thing he did. God told Moses to tell Pharaoh to let his people go, where he would show his power and present his greatness to the world. And there is history about that. He would send the worst hailstorm ever over Israel. Goshen, obviously found shelter, as did some of Pharaoh's servants. But many died. And he didn't care. He murdered his own people. 6th commandment. The storm destroyed crops in Egypt, but not in Goshen. Pharaoh told Moses to pray to stop the storm. After he did, Pharaoh changed his mind again. 2nd and 3rd commandment violated. Pharaoh coveted what Israel had, broke the 10th commandment. Saw God's power. He wanted that. He wanted to do what he wanted. He wanted to rule. Even God. Pharaoh said he would only let your men go. God created the male and female. In God's image, he created God. All that Pharaoh did violated God's creation and thus his commandments. He obviously broke the 4th commandment, the Sabbath. He violated women's rights, 7th commandment. He violated the rights of the family, 5th commandment. God told Moses to raise his hand. God sent darkness to all who stayed at home. Goshen remained in the light. Finally, God told Moses to tell Pharaoh that he would kill the entire firstborn who kept themselves in Pharaoh's enslavement. With the firstborn killed by Pharaoh's evil, refusing to protect them, he just stood back. His evil created, if you will, the first commandment. I'm the Lord your God, Yahweh Elohim, who brought you out of the land of slavery. You shall have no other gods besides me, the only God. Moses told Israel to cover their doorposts with blood. Take flour and cast it so that it would not become, take the flour, so it would not become leavened. Grab all your belongings, and some Egyptians gave them, snuck out. Now the Lord said to Moses and to Aaron in the land of Egypt, this month shall be the beginning of months for you. This is the first month of the year to you. And they put blood around the doorposts and on the lintels of the house in which they eat. And they shall eat the flesh that night, roasted with fire. They shall eat it with unleavened bread and herbs. How important is showing the world the evil represented in the Pharaoh from the serpent who wishes to rule. God began the Passover for all who love him and to keep for every year. God is a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers in the third and fourth generation from those that hate me, but showing loving kindness to the 1,000 who love me and keep my commandments. This is the love of God. This protects us from the evil that wishes to destroy people. The 10 Commandments are the power a human can use to defeat the serpent. The only power. As I said, I'm the Lord your God who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of slavery. You shall have no other gods instead of me. Amen. And thank you for watching and listening.